This is the theme song to Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's called Welcome Horizons. It was written in 2020 by the Nintendo staff. It is played in the key of F on the video game, but I played in the key of G on the banjo for simplicity. The banjo is in standard tuning, which is a D, B, G, and D. I do not use the fifth string. The first phase, the chord progression, is the same as the opening. It's a G with a G bass. And I'm hitting the G bass up here on the fourth string on the fifth fret, and the third string and second string are open. I'm going 4, 3, 2, 3 on this whole opening run. Then I go down to the F note on the fourth string, which is the third fret, and play the G7th chord. And then I move down to the E note on the fourth string, which is the second fret, and play this C chord, so you also have to hold down the first fret on the second string. And then I play the C minor, holding down the E flat as my bass on the fourth string. Still holding down the first fret here on the third string. So the opening is a G, G7, C, C minor. The next chord is just an open G, making it a D bass since your fourth string is open. And then I fret the second fret completely for an A chord. And then I play this D chord. It can either be a D or a D7th. And for that, I do a little different roll. I do 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. So the whole opening is... The first phase of the song also has that same chord progression. So you start off with this G. Now the melody can be played several different ways on this G. I'm holding this G note down on the fourth string, but you can just go 1, 2, 3 open, and then hit the second fret on the first string, which is the E note. So it's... Or you can do 2, 2, 3, 2, and then hit that E note. Or you can do 2, 2, 3, and then hit the E note. Any of those work. Sometimes I do one, and the next time through I usually do a different one. The next chord is the G7th. And with the G7th, you hit the F note in the bass, and just the first and second string is your melody. Then you go to the C chord, But you don't only have to hold down this fourth string on the second fret because you're only playing the fourth and third strings. You pinch them together, and then you hit the fourth string by itself as a melody note. And then you go to the minor, and here you're hitting the E flat on the fourth string, which is the first fret, and you're hitting this C sharp here on the third string. So it's and then you go to the G chord, and it starts out pinching the fourth and third strings. Then you fret the second fret on the third string, open second string, and then you go to your A chord, hitting the first string as your melody, bar the whole second fret. And you go to the fourth and fifth fret on the first string, and then you go to either a D or a D7. And here, the D would look like this, and the D7 would look like that. So the whole first part looks like this. And then it repeats. The next phase goes into an E flat and then an F chord. For the E flat chord, you bar the entire first fret, and you put the third fret on the third string and the third fret on the first string. After you got this position, the melody goes like this. 4, 3, 1, and then you slide that 1 up to the 5th fret. Lift your finger off the third string, which is already now barred on the 3rd fret. And then you put your finger down on the 2nd string to get that 4th fret. So it's... And for this F chord, you already have this position, so you just keep barred on the 3rd fret. And your first 2 notes are on the 4th and the 3rd string. Now you want to keep the 3rd fret on the 1st string and hit these 3 notes. So it's... And then you repeat the E flat chord. So the whole E flat F part looks like this. And then you jump to this chord. And when you jump to this chord, the melody is going to be on the 8th fret of the 1st string, and then the 12th fret of the 1st string twice. So the first chord is this. Starting on string number 1, it's the 8th fret, the 6th fret, and the 8th fret. You can just play the 2 strings, 8 and 6, or if you want to play all 3. The next chord, the melody is on 12, and on strings 2 and 3, you're hitting the 10th fret, so you bar that. And then this next chord is a D7th, but it's an octave higher. Still having the 12th note as your melody, and then you jump down to this D7th. So once again, these 3 chords are on the 8th fret for the 1st string, the 12th fret for the 1st string, and then the D7th on the 12th fret of the 1st string. So the whole F, E flat part is, with the 3 extra chords, is... And then you go into this E minor chord, starting on the second string. 2, 3, first string on the second fret, first string open, and then roll down to the fourth string on the second fret. And then on the third string, you're going to go open, 1, 2. You can either strike those or you can hammer it on. So from the 3 chords on, then it moves to the next phase of the song. It's 2, 3, second fret of the first string. And the first chord is just an open G with your first string open. And then you pluck the third string to go into the next chord, which is a C with a D bass. So all you hold down is the first fret on the second string. So those 2 chords are G, and I'm just plucking strings through 4, 3, and 2. I'm not hitting 1 for that C chord. Now this next chord has a D bass, so you just hit the open D and come up here to the G, which is the 5th fret on the first string. So 5, 5, 4, and then you go to an E bass, and the E bass is your 2nd fret on the 4th string. And then you repeat that whole thing again. G, C, C with a D bass. Then you move up to a B chord, which is just a straight bar across the 4th fret. When I get to this B chord, the song sort of falls apart, so I just make up the rest to end it out. With this B chord, you play the first string as your melody, and then play the second string, and then you hit the second string on the 5th fret instead of the 4th, hitting strings 2 and 3, which is this chord. And then I move that up 2, move it down 2, move it down 1, and then I just play the open 3rd string and fret it on the 2nd string, on the 2nd fret. I pause there for a second and then play the E minor again. And end it with an open G. This last part from the E minor on looks like this.